Baby, make you feel like a millionaire.
How old is the song?
Oh, I was sober though when I wrote my parts.
Ooh.
Go ahead, you drink. Like $1 million, like a million in the tux. Never know my mood, Richie Rich or Scrooge McDuck. But tonight you're getting lucky like the Derby in Kentucky. If it only costs money, huh, honey bunny? Let me tell you something. The dress looks so stunning. I'm witty and I'm cunning.
I love that beat.
Yeah. He dusted it up. He found it on the files. I was like, dang, dude, did you find a little heater, bro?
That's a good hook too, dog. Bro,
Yeah.
that's a nice song.
Yeah, we've been working on some new stuff too.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't put
Telling
nothing out?
Mickey outside.
Well, we just dropped this one. We're kind of like going through the archives.
This is old though, right? So you
It's
said,
older, yeah.
yeah.
I used to come down to back in '99, 2000, all the way up to '04. I'd hit from Livonia. I'd hit 85 South and hit Jimmy Carter and go all the way down to Mountain Industrial, right there to the Motel 6. Turn left on Hammer Mill, Jam Tam Entertainment. Just a little suite like this. I was telling Mickey outside, just brought back memories.
Oh, really?
I got it right here. I was on SoundCloud from all those years ago, bro. I had this chick named Bahama Mama do a hook for me.
Right here, though. This. Watch this. Here we go. Absolutely, I look good in anything, but lying don't suit me. To eye candy that compliments my two-piece. The group is called the Mansion Boys,
Mm-hmm.
and so you got to be in on the joke. So the joke is like we're these two rich white entrepreneur mansion boys, and we rap, and so we're this lavish, outlandish movie producer guys who are just shady, and you know, you got to. My character in the group is called Krigan Jankin.
Krigan Jankin.
Yeah,
I like it.
instead of Christian Jansen.
Crickens Jenkins.
And then he is Roger Cramden. So we're these characters. It's a concept.
Yeah.
So you gotta like if you're in on the joke, it's really fun.
Yeah.
If you take it too serious, you're like, but you know.
Who the hell are these guys?
These
think they
guys,
are?
I was just a pet white boy. It's to climb the beach, just starts at nothing and climbs. Mossberg, she's like, oh, anything. Mossberg, she's like, oh, anything for you, Mossberg.
Oh,
Hope once I've been provoked, ain't shit about to change. Guess you just had to cope. I never believed it would happen to me, but I rolled up my sleeve and I hit them streets. Pleased to see the
Oh.
crowd up on their feet making hella noise. What? All this for me? Shit, I gotta go, gotta flow. Create the next hit to blow the next show. There's no better feeling, man. Understand? I'm the best to bet on when the shit hit the ceiling fan. Dead on them heels of the previous. Set on making my way up, devious. With hot licks that sticks to your rib cage. No crack, I love it because he ain't never been paid. Been played by most of my life. Don't nobody know me, and it cuts like a knife, but I'm keeping on with this. I gotta spin it, got what you want, so let's get on with it now.
that's dope, bro.
Nice.
Yeah, just
That's good shit.
pet white boy back in the day.
No, that's dope.
Pet White Boy was that was
Pet
your rap
white
name?
boy. No, that was Mossberg, but I was their pet white boy.
Oh, you were there, Pet.
Yeah. But I mean, they were a good group. When my brother died, they came up to the memorial, sat with the family. Left
Were
the
they
old
all
lady
from?
at one-
They all from here?
So check it out. Their hit, the group was called the Faculty,
Mm-hmm.
and their hit was ATL Players. At this time, me and this cat from Stone Mountain named Malachi are the only two out of the whole group from Atlanta.
From Atlanta.
The CEO and then the beat man were brothers from Jacksonville, Florida, James Daniel and Jesto. Judo was from Virginia. Raw Styles was from Ohio. G Money was from Chicago. Thug was Connecticut, and he was a switch up style. His dad was Jamaican, so he would go from talking like he was from the Bronx to
I like that.
Yeah,
When they was just switch up and
Just
start
switch
talking.
up.
Yeah. I like that.
and nobody was from Atlanta.
This is the one we're working on now. Back at the mansion, where everybody knows my name. Ted dancing, laws of attraction. But she don't know the difference between love and satisfaction. Tell me how this happened. There's a Ferrari in the pool and there's lube on my Oscar. You crazy imposters. We only been gone for a little bit. Now y'all act like little monsters. Ugh.
I'm feeling D12 out of that, bro.
Yeah.
It's got that whole vibe to it.
Look at that. You fool rappers. You got to get off the premises. You don't know what a premise is.
Oh.
Nice.
Who roofied the cleaning lady? Y'all making me crazy. I suppose that's how it goes. You want to be housewives, but act like little hoes.
You got to drop this, bro.
Oh, dude, yes.
You got to drop this immediately.
I've got to get in the studio. I've got the beats. I just have to drop them.
You should do a verse on this song. We got to get you a Mansion Boy moniker, though.
Yeah, you got to come up. You got to have a character.
Mac Moses
Mac Moses.
instead of Mike Moss.
Oh, you got to
Fungus Among Us.
you
Moss.
got to drop this fast.
Nasty, right?
Wow, it's hot. That's just dope with the little Cheers reference.
Back
Ted
at the
dancing.
mansion.
Drop some
All right.
bars on that, man. I would
Especially
love
when
that.
the beat switch up, that's
Oh
when you come in.
man,
right
that's
there.
when. Yeah.
We
Oh.
just gotta get you the.
Oh, little feature.
Yeah, you gotta be like
I had wrote a verse
Mickey.
to Beautiful.
Mickey with that hat on. You look like Mickey the
Sick Mickey.
sick Mickey.
Sick Mickey. I like it.
Oh snap!
I can even do it in this here voice, see?
Oh yeah, Sick Mickey.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right, so we are live. We are recording.
Oh, for real?
Captured all
Wow.
of that.
Word. All right.
Yeah, it's all good.
Okay.
So
I ain't signed nothing.
let's do a prayer and then we'll
Yes.
get going. God, thank you for the opportunity to get together to do this. Thank you for sobriety and recovery and all the people that have just guided us and led the path forward so that we could be here today. We surrender this time to your care and control, and we don't know how, but we trust that something good is going to come out of our time
Amen.
together and be helpful to somebody out there. So we thank you, and I pray these things in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
All right.
Just want to tell you, see this is a Mike Fior joint.
Facebook.
Shout
Did you
out.
order that from the website or something?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you could do that.
I like
Shout
that.
out to Mike, the homie, putting in that work.
He was involved.
Him
Y'all might
and
want to cut
his,
that out then.
him and a partner, his partner, they travel the country just advocating for fentanyl awareness.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's Cali boy. Cali boy. He
Yeah. Well, he's a New York boy. but
he's a
in
New York
Cali.
boy. He lives in Cali, but
Yeah.
he rocks out with the same people that he used to rock out with back in the
Yeah.
day, right?
So Facing Fentanyl is their organization. and
Yeah.
They're doing a lot of reform. So they're going to DEA, talk to a lot of government people.
Everywhere. They go everywhere.
And so Andrea's
Yes.
daughter
Shout out.
was poisoned by fentanyl. She took half a Percocet pill.
Wow.
And
She's been on it ever since. Like,
and so
she's been
they're
moving.
big championing the change of language to, instead of calling it overdose, calling it a poisoning. Because when somebody takes something they think is one thing and it's not, that's by definition a poisoning.
Yeah.
and you can't overdose on a pencil full of a substance,
Anything,
right?
yeah.
And so changing that language, which is important because a lot of the people that are having these fentanyl poisonings, it's the word overdose like makes people think of like junkie
Right.
underneath the railroad tracks, whatever. And the reality is a lot of people are dying and they're single use. They're not even opiate users.
Yeah, like the opiate users got a way better chance
Of getting through it.
of getting through this than a lot of the I don't know if it's the majority, but a lot of the people that are dying, it's like first time messing around, grabbing a pill or something like that and just not knowing.
A lot of really sad stories of kids in college,
Which
just
I hope that
doing
message
the college thing, playing
Yeah.
around, having fun, hanging out, taking a pill or whatever, thinking it's one thing, and then it's not.
Bro, it's happening in the sober livings.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
kudos to Mike, but
Yeah, Mike's killing it, man.
yeah,
He was
man,
at the,
I
he was at the
appreciate him
border.
for what he's doing.
Yeah, he's killing it.
The
Love that
language
boy.
change, I've been learning a lot about that in the peer support movement too. That's it is important
Yeah.
because stigma
Yeah.
surrounds everything, and stigma is born from language.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm not sure if I want to go on my language rant.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Most High Show.
Yes.
And every once in a while, we get to do a show called Most High Bros. And that's basically
Yeah.
where we're just going to let the Lord lead it.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to just see what happens. And so I think if you're here and you're listening, I think you're going to hear some wisdom. You're going to hear some foolery. But I think mostly you're going to hear, I feel like you'll have a sense of connection because sitting with me today are two real dudes who are very active in their recovery. I don't know if they're as active in their recovery as they were when they were in their addiction, but they're close.
We got to
And
put the
they're
numbers
trying
up. Yeah, we're going
to
to really,
match it.
we're going to have to look at the numbers.
Yeah, we have to look at the numbers.
Look at the stats.
We have
I'm
we have in the 12 Steps Demystified. It's a thing on the 12 Steps that we have on the Most High Media app. And the guy says, and this is an old timer, he says, I have never chased recovery to the degree that I've chased the drug. And I feel like, wow, that's an honest statement, But I do think that guys like you who've been spared it's an intentional effort to say, I got to live in a totally different way, in a radical way, and I got to be of service, and I have to be connected, and I have to be helpful.
No doubt.
Because that gives the pain purpose, and it's what it's your sweet spot. And so sit with me is David
You.
and Mossberg in the building, all the way from Athens.
Came
Made the
all the
trip.
way up.
ATH,
Appreciate you
woo,
being
woo.
here, dog.
Yeah,
Thanks
and
for
you brought
having
your
me.
boys here. Shout them out for me.
All right, that's Mickey and Big E.
Big E.
Modern Pathways to Recovery, Sober Living for Men in Athens, Georgia.
Nothing but good things here from that. They brought us out there to do a screening, which was pretty epic.
Show mad love to Most
Show mad
High,
love.
right?
They show mad love to everybody, so I appreciate that.
I say this, and I will keep saying it. Athens, they got a family of recovery down there. It is and like the pillars to me from what I see is Michael's a pillar, Edmund's a pillar, their partner Shane. Like these guys are really holding it down in Athens, and I love it down there. I really do. I love that scene.
Yeah.
Especially they showed us so much love down there.
Oh yeah,
It was like a sellout crowd,
We
man.
sold it out.
They were like coming and rapping with us, loving what we did. I mean, really just loving us back. And I love Athens for that.
we've gotten a lot of, not a lot, but enough times with that documentary. Everything is fine.
It's a great show. Great documentary.
Thank you.
That's a solid.
A lot of people just walk away thinking about mushrooms.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I didn't set out to make a commercial for mushrooms. But I've heard from a few people go, like asking me if other stuff we have, if this is like our thing now,
Mushrooms?
Yeah, like if this is we create content around
Wow.
mushrooms.
That's how something, it's your audience, bro.
Well, yeah, I
You know
think
what I
they're
mean?
little. But to me, it's like, I would rather we approach it and have that conversation because it's relevant. It's
Absolutely, man.
right? And so I'd rather us, because I feel like we approached it with reverence. We had
Oh, yeah,
Mitchell on there
man.
who was really honest about his experience with it. but that's pretty funny that that's the one thing that everyone takes away.
Well, you know, and it was very insightful about that, and I learned a little more about it than I have anywhere else from that documentary. But honestly, that's not what I walked away from the doc with. Eternal strength? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Those guys are killing.
Yeah,
Giannis?
that's
Catch
it.
them while
Giannis?
they're young, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Giannis, you had the neuro dude there,
You had
like
the
the
neuro
real.
dude.
He is the one, man. Like the dude that was talking to the neuro psychologist, right?
Mhm.
Is this your brain?
This is
hand
the neuro.
signature?
Yes, the neuro
Sign
guy.
language for brain.
For real, that was what I think I personally enjoyed the most. Is just the way Dr. Giannis
Yeah.
delivered his information. To me, it was like, I get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All of it was really good. But again, when you get a bunch of people and you show a movie that has any kind of psychedelics in it, and everybody is like, touching sobriety, messing around with recovery, it's just like, shrooms? For real?
Yeah. And I'm glad you said eternal strength because that's
Absolutely, man.
when I first got introduced to them and I saw the way they do it and their approach, I feel like is the way to approach it. Totally understand what they're doing there. The way that, talking about like you had to learn language and your peer support stuff and being person first, right? Person centered.
Absolutely.
Right. And that moniker of you're not damaged, you're not broken, you don't have a mental, what is it? You don't have a mental disease or something like that. You're not mentally ill. That's what it is.
Right.
Because it's about lifting up the individual.
Strength-based language.
What you doing? You taking your shirt off? Oh,
I got an eternal strength undershirt.
okay.
Oh, yeah.
David just pulled his shirt up for anyone listening.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had this discussion before the show.
We talked about this before.
Yes.
We all
Yes.
agreed we were keeping our shirts on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but Wes and them guys out there, Eternal Strength, man, they are fighting a good fight.
I wish more people could do that, but like unfortunately, insurance doesn't see that as a, insurance kind of has this lane to say this is what mental health treatment looks like.
Yeah.
And if you deviate out of that, insurance won't pay that. And that's unfortunate because most businesses then will just not offer that, even if it has immense therapeutic value, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
it takes-
just like Eternal Strength. I mean, that, but I love their motto. It's something that, inspires me to like, man, like these guys are really doing it this way. They got a great nonprofit that they run with, and man, they help people and they do it night. Like there's nothing shabby about it. It's a sweet place to go visit and get some help.
It's peer support on a juvenile level. You know,
Yeah.
I've been there. Let's talk. You
Yeah.
know, we don't have to get deep right now. Let's shoot a game of pool or
Yeah.
hit the skate park real quick. You know,
Right.
I mean, it's the thing is, it's both there. Like, you want to do so, go play ping pong with your friends and like, cruise around the facility and do your thing, and you're more than welcome. But there are like really diehard professionals there that are ready to dig in with you whenever it needs to be done, or once, so to offer that on a daily basis and have a business actually run that way, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Shout out to Wes and Kara and all them out there,
So,
Ty and all
Moss,
them.
are you a peer, certified peer?
I am.
Listen, hold up. Hold up. Like, you got to let this dude rattle a little bit and see where this dude is at in his walk in recovery. As far as a long time ago, when I first started hanging out with Christian, he had a lady come on here, and she was a counselor. And the first thing he said, he was like, "Damn, you got some letters. You got some letters on your thing. This is the reason why you got these letters." She was rapping to you about it. So them letters mean something to me. So listen to my boy.
Yeah.
He got something going on.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, last time we talked a little bit about how I got into recovery, so I'm not going to go delve into all that. Basically, I know now why I'm still alive, and it is up and down the peer support movement. You can understand me all day long from a clinical point of view, from a legal justice point of view, but if you haven't been there, then you don't know What
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Move your mic just a little bit closer.
So
There you go.
there you
Thank
go. So I didn't know what peer support was. Never heard of it, and I actually even heard about this job with Advantage as a fluke. An ex-girlfriend just happened to be ex-related by marriage
Mm-hmm.
to somebody that worked on the outreach team at this homeless day service center.
Wait, your ex-girlfriend was ex-married
Was ex,
to,
you know,
okay.
Jerry
My baby's
Springer show
mama,
waiting to
mama.
happen.
Okay.
No,
You
but
are not the father.
I was at the time I was actually a client of Advantage. The Proud program, that's their medical assisted treatment. That's the MAT-Meds program.
Yeah.
Now,
Um,
Advantage, for those who don't know, what is Advantage?
Advantage Behavioral Health Systems. They serve 10 counties, not just Clark.
And in Clark, that's where Athens is, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Clark County.
And that's the hub. That's the central over on Mitchell Bridge Road. But yeah, I'm there as a client and found out through this ex that's still my friend about this job opening. And I was coming up on my 1 year or just past my 1 year of sobriety, clean time. And why not? Went ahead and applied for it. I didn't get the position that I applied for on the outreach team. They wanted 2 years. But I did. They said, well, would you mind applying for this front lobby position? We think you'd be perfect for it. I said, why not? You know, if I'm getting into this field, I know that my first job won't be my last. So it doesn't matter where I start.
Yeah.
And I learned a long time back, early in my recovery, to go ahead and take my hands off the wheel. You know, God, to me, that word is such an understatement of what my creator is and a natural pull of the universe that I had to quit fighting in order to get where I'm at today. Just had to lay back and let it float. And I don't know what to call him but creator. So my creator had a plan for me, and it took me through all this. And I was hired. And through others there and others that I had learned just a little bit before getting the job, what peer support, I had heard of it. I started learning what peer support is. And that's people who have been there with lived experience, going through a training just to show you how to use that lived experience to speak speak positively, strength-based speech, not talk down on you, not make you feel like you're just a junkie, like you said, you know, and try to help you be there in the moment, person-centered. You know, it's one thing I've learned in this peer support thing. It's not about me at all. They tell you, Pink, your Q-tip, quit taking it personal. You know,
But can we hold up? So as frontline as you can get, like, so if you go to if you're in Athens, especially where Advantage Behavioral Health is, right? It's like there's almost like two populations of homeless people that come every morning to get help or whatever, daily assistance, whatever it may be, and they all funnel through the front doors of Advantage, and that was his position, to keep some sort of ordinance amongst all that, plus one-on-one talks, plus help the people that are looking like they need help, all that. Like, that's a crazy job, bro.
So what I was about to say with the Pink, practice intentionally not knowing, that didn't apply in this position. One of the questions they asked me during the interview is, have you ever been homeless? Yeah, I've been there. Of course, what I call, or what they call the HUD definition of what I called homeless is couch surfing for the most part. But yeah, I've been out under the stars plenty of times, and it was all by choice. I soon learned not everyone out there on the streets chooses to be out there on the streets. They might have made a bad decision that got them there, but that's not why they're still there. I got the crash course out in little cups of shampoo and conditioner and lotion for them to take a shower. They come in, they eat, they can sign up for shower once a day, laundry once a week, one load. They can get their mail sent there. They can use telephones. And then they've got access when the programs are up and running to housing
Like more secure housing.
right,
Yeah.
housing programs, and then case managers was the word I'm
Yeah.
looking for. They got case manager, and then of course direct access back to our central unit over on Mitchell Bridge Road for behavioral health assessments and mental health care.
Yeah. During that time when you're doing this, what did you learn about that population or yourself that you didn't know before you
Oh
started in
Lord, the list is endless. So first and foremost, this is where I found out exactly what it means to be a peer. Not just what a peer is, but what it means to be a peer. See, I call it the trifecta, but now after this week in forensic training, it's really more than three. There's four points that you're dealing with about just about anybody that walks through that front door. You're dealing with mental health issues. You're dealing with substance use disorder. You're dealing with homelessness, and then you're dealing with incarceration or returning citizens.
Yeah.
And
It's a hell of a
it's
crowd.
always a crisis.
it? Sounds like my people.
There's always trauma.
Yeah.
And here's the thing: I learned the definition of crisis is not the same as what, like sitting here right now. If I didn't have a roof over my head, that would be crisis to me. But that's normal every day to them. Crisis to them is I don't have any way to charge my phone, or homeboy stole my phone, or I don't have anything to feed my dog.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're more worried about their dogs than they are themselves at most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, this is, to me, I feel like, maybe it's, like where I'm located, there's such a, just like a not knowing of what you see. You know what I mean? I mean, when you think about recovery and substance abuse and mental health and stuff like that, like, talking about it from afar is one thing, because then you can philosophize. You know what I'm saying? Then you can like talk and you can like zen your way into like the problem, how to deal with it, the best ways to cope with it and stuff like that. But it's just like Mike Tyson said, everybody got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Right. Right.
You see
Hold
what
on
I'm
a second,
saying?
somebody said the video went out.
Oh, dude, I was flowing, baby. Really good.
Yeah.
This is good. Yeah.
What were we talking about?
Well, like I said, it's such a wide range. When you think about mental health, substance abuse, recovery, addiction, homelessness. When you sit afar from it, you could really discuss it. You know what I'm saying? But when you are in it,
Pontificate about it.
yeah, we can talk that
Right.
shit about
What
it.
really
You dig
needs
what I
to
mean?
happen is
Yeah. Oh, let me tell you. And you're, you know what I mean? You're humming the whole thing.
this wine does go well with the chicken. About the homeless, what are we gonna do? Right.
So I really, that's why I value my relationship with Mossberg, because he's one of the people that helped me keep my finger on the pulse of the community. I feel everybody needs help. Okay, for real. If you're dealing with mental health and addiction and like trying to change your life and all that, whether you're a guy that has his own business and a family and your wife is about to kick you out because you can't stop drinking, that's a real deal thing, okay? But when you are in like tents and there's a population of that, how do you just fathom like trying to have anything to do with like navigating that population of people? Crisis takes on a whole new definition. It's a
Absolutely.
whole new angle of like what kind of, to me, I feel, I don't know, maybe it's just me, because I know it's a big topic, but it's still, to me, it still gets overlooked in like the visuals of it. Like when you see North Philly,
Yeah.
right? Like bro, I remember when you did the documentary on North Philly, it was like, yo, how could this,
Exists.
what is this?
Yeah.
How can this even happen? You know what I'm saying? So I like, you keep me my finger on the pulse of that part of myself. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate
And you don't
that.
have to go down there. So it's
Yeah, I
perfect.
can just, yo, Maz, where you at? Hold up.
You can just
Go-
get a video
Come
call.
up this way.
Well, I tell you something. I can sit here all day long and pretend that I know what I'm doing. And like I say, I've almost been there a year. I'm not a clinician. I'm a peer. I don't have all these diplomas or degrees or anything.
You got some stuff though.
Well-
Okay.
Well,
That's
it's
very
kinda like-
significant in the community, bro.
and I appreciate that. But honestly, it's they do. So I meet them where they're at and do my best to help them coast through the wave of the immediate crisis, because that's all I'm doing at the day center is as client engagement specialist, is riding the wave of the crisis and helping them with their immediate needs.
Yeah,
Anything-
meeting their felt need, whatever they
Yeah.
feel their
Right.
need is. If it's just charging the phone, okay, let's get your phone charged. If it's they want to get medicine, let's connect you to where you get medicine. If it's they want a shower, it's hearing where they're at and helping them where they feel like they need the help. Is that
Exactly. And then, of course, the only part where I feel like I actually do have a grip on anything is the avocation part. Like one that might need their ID
Mm-hmm.
or social security card. So I can take you on Thursday to go get your ID, and I know where to send you to get the social security
That's
card
love,
to get those
bro.
steps in.
That's love.
And to help you feed your dog, we don't have that here. It doesn't come normal with donations, and we're not going to buy dog food for you. But I do have a connection that's going to come now once a month, if at very least, and start bringing pet supplies, because they know that some of these traumatized, the ladies especially out here on the streets, will make sure that dog gets fed first, because when they were in their moment of being traumatized, their worst crisis, they had nowhere else to turn and no one else to lean on. That little four-legged friend was everything in the world.
Yeah.
And these are the things you take into consideration with these people. Yeah, but these are my people.
Absolutely.
So you eventually get into this peer support specialist thing. So let's talk a little bit about what that is. Let people understand kind of what that is, and you've been through the training recently, I think, right?
I haven't stopped training this last year. So in
Somebody who don't know what that is, how would you break that down? What a peer support specialist is?
certified peer support specialist is someone bringing lived experience to the table. Like I said, you show empathy, to advocate for you, and to bring resources. To what you might need. I started with the CPS MH, through the Georgia Mental Health Consumer Network. That's certified peer support specialist in mental health.
That credential is specific to mental health.
Absolutely.
Right.
Or dual diagnosis.
Or dual diagnosis, right?
Right.
So you get an elevated education on what that really means, which I think is very important, right, for
Right.
mental health, right? And then, but when you become what your other, I don't want to talk for you, but then you got something else, a couple other things going on too. That really, the reason I like this is because it really is like you're very rounded in your knowledge, and the process of the way that Georgia does it is something, especially on this level, like on a peer-to-peer level, is very important, because it's one thing like to get the peer-to-peer help. That means, yo, man, I love you, dog. I got your back. You know what I mean? I've been through some stuff too. You know what I mean? And we can share with each other and help each other and gain knowledge from each other and stuff like that. But that added training adds so much to the whole equation, because now you can facilitate. You know what I mean? You can get in a group and like guide, newcomers and people that don't have any idea. Like you can navigate this whole system of things because of that training. That's why I think it's important. You know what I mean?
I can navigate the system, but I'm not going to try and take kudos where I don't have it. If you sat down and tested me on the actual content of each of these trainings right now, I probably wouldn't. If I passed, it would be barely. I have spent more years burning my brain cells out than I ever have learning anything.
Right.
The fact is, I got these credentials for one reason and one reason only: access.
Yeah.
Access to resources, access to the ability to sit back and be the one to step up and be the bridge between you and the clinician, you and whoever you need in the justice system, you know, and that's what it's all about.
The access.
It really is. The options, the access, all that.
Yeah.
And the knowledge, though, because you don't know this. You see what I'm saying? Unless you walk the walk.
Well, you're hired
You dig what I'm
specifically
saying?
for your lived experience.
Right. So, yeah, but what I'm saying is you don't know the moves. You see what I'm saying? We just had a whole discussion in here, and you and Edmund were breaking all these stuff down, and the people that you were talking about and the way these things go, like that training is not that, but it puts you in the position to get an understanding on how to do recovery. How can I be helpful?
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Like, I love going to a meeting, right? You know what I'm saying? And seeing those dudes and talking with these guys and like sharing my story and listening to them and being helpful. But it's not the same when you really understand what's going on.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying? Like, to me, it's a different thing. I'm sorry. It's just,
He just jumped into his positive psychology mode right now. On you.
well, how about CARES?
Is that what he did?
So the CPS is the mental health, right?
Right.
So
Okay.
before we continue on, I want to put some context for somebody, which is essentially the need to service, to see, to help people with substance use disorder or mental health issues is so great and vast that there are not enough quote unquote clinicians to handle the volume of where the need is, right? And so I think it's the genius of it. And every state kind of has their own acronym for these people, but it's essentially empowering individuals at a peer level to be able to offer therapeutic services, right? Because they can't get access to a clinician, and even if you have insurance, it's hard to get access to a clinician, right?
Right.
So this peer support model, which I think is in every state's governed differently, but this peer support model is a way to address this growing need of people who have substance use disorder or mental health issues, and address it and deal with it and help them to find resources and then also get therapeutic time with somebody, right?
Well, it is, and I'll tell you something else too. This peer support movement is big, especially here in Georgia. But it has done that they may or may not be able to reach, or just might be just out of reach. On the flip side, because of this peer support movement, and everybody from political or from office on down to street level is starting to realize that lived experience holds as much value as any education does.
Absolutely.
Now you've got clinicians with lived experience able to kill that don't ask, don't tell mentality and step out and say, hey, I'm a peer too.
Yeah.
And that's big.
That's such a trump card.
That it is, because
It's such a trump card, man.
the clinician can take themselves out of the doctor's role
Right.
and say, hey, look, let's put the pad and pencil down for a minute and bring the glasses up off my nose. I've been there, you know? I've been there.
You ever been in a therapy session and they just go, tell me more about that.
How did that make you
You're
feel?
like, are you doodling? What's going on over there?
Or they're doing their taxes.
Doing their taxes. You over there practicing your algebra? I just told you that I was abused as a child. What the hell?
Well, at the end of the day, like we say, and this is the phrase that got it all started for me, but what is the answer to addiction, right? There's no cure, but what's the answer? Connection. Well, it's the same thing with mental health issues. What's the answer to mental health issues? Connection. What's the answer to homelessness? Connection. What's the answer to incarceration or being returning back into society? Connection, connection, connection.
And empowering people to say, it's almost like, the same thing like when I went to do my coaching and ordinations and all that stuff. All I was really looking for was permission.
Absolutely.
I mean, I did learn a lot in those environments, but, and I've said this before on the show, like, when I got a coach, my life radically changed, because with a coach, he can or she can reflect their own experience back to me, right? And that is actual value to me, right? And I needed that. I need that back and forth. Like, I need to know, how did you navigate this? Or to be able to ask. And the same thing in like a 12-step situation, right? I mean, it's really just the 12 steps. It's just with different letters.
It all somehow comes back to the 12 steps. It's
Yeah.
really, really weird.
It's really weird. But yeah, I love that back and forth is what I need. That
Yeah.
Yep.
you know, and I can get that. You don't have to be further down the path.
Mm-mm.
You know, like you can be. I can get it from whoever, right? If I'm willing to be honest, and that other person has that same openness. This is just human to human stuff, right? It's like
Facts.
we've lost the ability to be human
Right.
to ourselves or to other people. We've just lost it, right? I mean,
Well, think of like what kind of like personal and myself included, like all three of us are sitting here, and we went through something beyond. Okay, there's all of our life experience, right? But then relationship.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's like
not really, but I am kidding.
it's a formal thing though. Like I'm
Yeah.
coming here seeking your connection. Like I'm coming here seeking your assistance,
You're right.
your guidance.
I see where you're
like
going.
you do it narrows
We
this
gotta
whole down.
formalize the
Yes.
thing. It
You
should just
got
be
to-
kicking it.
No,
We're going to divulge into talking about booty.
it does.
and
It's just
titty
gonna
and
go somewhere, man. You know what I
food
mean?
and
Yeah.
Football and just,
Right.
Yeah. We
Then
need
we're just
some
buddies.
guardrails. Yeah.
Yeah, we need
I feel
because we need to keep it going in the certain direction. Like the goal is everybody gets help. You know what I'm saying? I'm here standing to hopefully help you, and within the process, because of the connection, the reason I did is because I get help too in the process.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
Well, at the same time, I can't pour from an empty cup. So I have to make sure that my self-care is in check too. I have to make sure that I'm on point with myself and that I'm in the good, so that when I step up to you, I'm not going through crisis while I'm trying to help you through yours.
Absolutely.
And because I'm good, I can actually properly function to help you in turn.
Right.
So we're both in it. We're feeding each other, and at the end of the day, when I lay my head down, and I'm not doing the dirt that I used to do, and I'm also not busting my knuckles, working my fingers to the grindstone out here at a job that might pay good,
Mm-hmm.
but doesn't give that same satisfaction internally. I mean, this is a spiritual job.
Yeah.
It really is, and I've never felt so close to my Creator as when I've sat and laughed with my clients, cried with my clients. As I'm telling them now about how I'm going to be moving now back over to the other location and working in a different side of the field. And some of these clients are like, no, whoa,
Yeah.
and I feel that because I put my blood, sweat, and tears into this place, but at the same time, I've got to spread my wings and fly.
Yeah, this is he's about to get another position at advantage. Right?
Well,
yeah.
So after the CPS in mental health, I did a little branch from that called the Respect Institute. They teach you to tell your story, do it in do it just under 10 minutes, but to not breeze over it, but you hit the hard points to what got you into recovery, but your focus is mainly on these are the achievements since coming into recovery. And by the way, all of this is nothing but lived experience to show you by example that you can do this too.
Right. Yeah. We had that a lot, and when we were focusing on just stories, a lot of people who came on the show was the first time. And, I got to get to the point where I go, look, if we're 10 minutes in and you're still 7 years old,
Yeah.
we need to move this bitch along because we ain't got time for all that.
Well, you know what?
I'm saying? And I had there's a buddy he does.
How does that make you feel?
I can't remember the name of his organization. His name's Todd Michaels, and he has a really cool program where he teaches people how to share their story. He does it in a Christian environment, right? And so him and I talked about, I wonder if we can, when you have somebody coming in for their first time to come do the show, they've never shared their story, is maybe they have to meet a couple times beforehand or go through some sort of process.
That's a good idea.
How do you refine it? Because you're right. But when I first started sharing my story, it was 80% all the qualifiers and then 20%. And then it would be like, wait, I didn't even mention God the whole time, or I didn't mention this. It's so weird, but in early recovery, how when we start to share our story, that's because that is all we can really reflect on.
It's everything. It's everything. Because number one, if you're a newcomer, you're new at recovery, but your whole life has been this like what you came from is just so like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? It's just something that, you know, you want, if you're in the position to like wow somebody, you know, you feel like your story, if I tell you this, you know what I mean? It's like borderlining glorifying maybe even, you know, I don't know.
Well, I deal with imposter syndrome a lot. We were talking
Yeah.
about that today in the training. And
I do too.
nobody that I was told, and I believe it from an outside perspective, that anybody that is stepping up as a peer should not have to worry about imposter syndrome because you've got that lived experience. Unless you're just flat out lying about it, then you got that lived experience and you're bringing it to the table to help somebody else. I mean,
Yeah.
so imposters, but it's real. And it is. It's something I struggle with every day. For about the first 5-10 minutes of my day, I'm having to run back through my head everything that I've achieved in the past 27 months to remind myself that you are not the old man, the man that was before the overdose. I'm the man that called for help afterwards and said, "Hey, man, can we speed this train up?"
Yeah.
And Lord, am I eating my words now? Because that train has not slowed down,
Right.
not a bit.
Yeah.
Well, that's a really big problem for me. Imposter syndrome, you know, is something that attacks me, and the only way that I get out of my head about it is I go, "Nah, I didn't do it. It's a God thing. God hooked
Yeah.
me up, man.
Well, that's what I
like
was
you know
gonna
what I'm
say,
saying.
like,
God hooked
yeah.
it up for me.
Yeah.
That's my story right there. Like,
Yeah.
I
The
didn't.
trick is
you know.
realizing that it's really not.
Yeah.
Like you're just the conduit.
Right.
God is the thing, or creator, or
Facts.
Whatever.
insert your word or name there.
Yeah.
But it's really you're just all you gotta do is get out of the way. At least that's been my experience with it. And when I sit with people who are helping me, I can tell when they get out of the way, because it's like, oh, that meant something there, and it's not about their intelligence or their training, or it's the ability to get out of the way. And I think that's like a good practitioner is hones that, you know,
Yeah.
like in those moments before session, you kind of got to go and let go. That's my experience of it. You know, like let me just let go and just show up, because that's like 90% of it is that you're actually
there.
a physical body.
You're
with
there.
someone. Yeah.
I will show up.
Yeah.
It's the loaves and fishes, you know.
Right.
He's sending me with the basket to go get the loaves and fishes, and the loaves and the fishes just happens to be what I've been through in my life.
Right.
My memories, my experiences, my survival, you know, and I'm putting it all in the basket and I'm bringing it back.
Yeah.
I'm putting it on the table, and then I'm sitting down and saying, okay, what are we going to do
You're just
with it?
glorified Uber driver.
Absolutely.
Uber Eats.
You know, but on the same token, and this is how I personally get past the imposter syndrome is I do that, what I've told you before, I call it think speak. You know, I'm thinking to my creator, you know, this is all you, this isn't me, and I'm so thankful. And then in return, before I even finish that thought, the thought that comes back into my mind, and it's that whisper that's so much louder than all the other chaos that's going on. And he's like, no, I just opened the door. I didn't drag you through it kicking and screaming. So it's a mutual thing, you know? I'm not a marionette.
Yeah.
I have the choice to not do this, and I have chosen to let go of the wheel. And by God, the car ain't crashed yet.
Right.
Yeah. You know what it is, man? You know why imposter syndrome is so tough on people like myself? Is that I spent so much of my life getting what I got through just straight
Yeah.
foolery, like manipulation,
From impostoring.
stealing. Oh, what's this right? Look right there. Oh,
Yeah.
no. What? You know, that was all my moves. So, like, it's almost like,
Yeah. Like, am I dope?
Did I
feeding
get-
this right now?
did I just get over? Did I just get over on this?
Well,
Lord?
We've spent all this time trying to get out, trying to not be who we are, you know. So let me get high so that I don't have to be Mike.
Right.
Let me go be on stage to this crowd here that likes to hear all this illicit stuff about me doing the wrong thing and glorifying, you know. And let me be Mossberg and not Mike. And spend so much time chasing this the view of who we are, and basing that on worldview. So I want to be who I think the world thinks I am, or who I think the world should think I am.
Right, it's a feedback loop.
And now it's like,
Yeah.
who even is thinking that now? That guy don't even exist no more.
Right.
And it's the same thing. I'll tell you, I feel like imposter syndrome. If it's even really a thing, or if it's just another name that we gave to the Creator keeping us humble. You know, because if I don't have that first 5 to 10 minutes of every day, am I going to even remember halfway through the day
Yeah.
why I'm doing this
Wow.
It's
anymore?
almost worse if you step in going, I
Yeah.
got this.
Yeah.
Let me show you the way,
I
Pat.
am Captain Recovery.
No worries, I am here.
That's worse than at least.
I got
yeah.
this. Yeah.
Well, my daughter, she's just turned 23. I
Happy
was
birthday.
23 when she was born.
Whoa,
So I've already broke that cycle.
I've never been 23.
that's a good word. I want to talk about that too.
And she's a nurse at Children's Hospital. And so she talks about this imposter. And for some reason, when she talks about it, I'm like, oh, I get that. Because there's like,
Yeah,
you
you
know,
can relate.
you can't give the wrong medicine. You have to make sure this is, you have to draw this at that. You have to communicate
Whoa.
this. It's such a heavy thing. And then, but as she continues to do it, she just kind of enters into it. And she was just given, she reached her year, and they have these things called preceptors. I think that's the preceptors. And the preceptor is basically a student comes in and shadows you. Or I think, no, the preceptor is, it's a new nurse, and you watch the new nurse do all the things, and you just kind of make sure they don't kill nobody.
Oh, you're looking over them.
You're
You're
looking over
observing them. Okay.
So she's like, what am I can't be, I just got a year. But what she did is when the girl showed up, she said, hey, I'm not sure how good this day's going to go. I'm just letting you know, day 4 yesterday, I got a year. So we're not.
Good luck.
But there's some humility there,
Yeah.
honesty, transparency. She said it ended up being a great day because the way that nurse system works is what she realized is that day with that girl, what she taught her was probably the most valuable lesson, which is ask if you don't know.
Yeah,
Oh,
I can
absolutely.
totally see that. That makes a
Yeah.
bunch of sense to me.
Absolutely.
Especially in that situation. I mean, and
Right.
these are little kids and like babies in
Yeah,
some
well,
senses that have really traumatic things that have happened.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you don't know, it's okay to not know. It's just ask, because someone else on the floor knows, and they're happy to share that info. Right?
If you're new doing that and you got the position to like look over somebody to be an observer and you're new and they're new, everybody better be tight. That anxiety that you're feeling, okay, that uncomfortable thing is very necessary
Yeah.
for this day.
But
You
I
know what
relate
mean?
to that so much. What you just said, you know, oh, I just got here. You know, look, I'm getting kudos for all these letters. You know, okay, CPSMH, Respect Institute. Then I got the CARES and Empowerment, Certified Empowerment Recovery, no, Certified Addiction Recovery Empowerment Specialist. That's what CARES stands
Cares
for.
worker, yeah.
All right, so and CARES 60, best CARES ever, woo. All right, and then now today I finished a forensic peer mentor, and it's by the time I'm starting this training, it's like I'm still in a mind fuzz from the last one.
Yeah.
But it's all about, again, being able to make those connections and everything. But it's also about that therapeutic value of one addict helping the next.
Amen.
It's not just the lived experience, it's the living example.
Too, yeah.
You know, it's like, hey, look, I was that guy back in Franklin County, and both of the guys that brought me here tonight will tell you this, that it's nothing to pull off on some random back road at 2:30 and 3 o'clock in the morning, even if it's raining, and see me walking skinny as a rail, shirtless, down the side of the road with my thumb out or not with my thumb out, up to no good. And then you're either pointing and laughing, you know, look at that junkie right there. That's Mossberg. Do not stop and pick him up, because there ain't no telling what we're going to get into. You know, I was that guy.
Yeah,
I was like
yeah.
almost a town fool with it. And
Yeah.
Now people, I mean, I'm talking about so bad. I had people hating on me so bad that they were committing crimes, and when they were getting caught, they were like, no, that was Mossberg. And it was so bad that the cops even believed a lie.
Right.
You know, and now it's like, those same people are looking to me and they're saying, "Yeah, I know somebody that can help you get in recovery."
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's mind blowing to me. But I understand now why. I understand why all of the pain, all the misery, all the addiction, all the making a junkie of myself. And apologize for using that word if it hits anybody wrong, but I wasn't just an addict, and I wasn't a person struggling with substance abuse. I was a junkie. I was hardcore, and I did it intentionally. I was trying to die with it, and then I got what I wanted. And then after that, I got what else I had wanted, because I had forgot about the other prayer. God, just let me live long enough to right my wrongs.
Whoa.
And in the meantime, I've got people seeing that I would have never thought or even watching, seeing this radical transformation, seeing the grim determination that goes into it, seeing the journey. Just like from an outside perspective, and they're like, I know if that dude can do it, anybody can. Yeah, I know exactly who to send you to.
Yeah, I think it's important, just because now that's on mine, I got some real ADHD. Whenever you said stop the cycle, right, with Jolie. Shout out to Jolie though.
Yeah.
I freaking love that girl, man.
Yeah.
She's so freaking awesome. Happy birthday. But stopping the cycle, man, I think, one of the biggest parts of your testimony. I know this guy, by the way, if you guys very well. Okay.
Better call your sponsor.
When you talk about one of the biggest part of your testimonies to me is what you stopped, like the cycle that you stopped. Like, could you be able to, like, if you don't mind, would you?
I
be
don't
able,
mind sharing.
Yeah.
Look, if my life can't be a completely open book, then I am an imposter.
Yeah.
You know, and that's how I really feel about it. Everything I've ever lived, from the worst to the best, it doesn't even belong to me. It belongs to you, who's listening, and get anything out of it. The rock bottom line of it is, I broke 2 family cycles. One is the cycle of addiction. Not only did I change and turn that around, my daughter has followed me out, and she is approaching her year.
Wow.
Well, that's so big, bro. Congratulations.
It's real
man.
big for me. I've got 2 boys, and she's junior. So,
Yeah.
and not to take anything from the boys either. My youngest is 18, and he's leaving home now. He's falling in love and starting to really live and experience life into adulthood. And then my other son, the middle child, the one with the most resentments, shows up a couple months ago down in Athens. I want to talk to you at lunch. We didn't even go out to eat. We just walked around downtown Athens, and I showed him the pics, the REM and the B-52's pics that are embedded in the sidewalk, kind of like the Hollywood stars down there in Athens. And we talked, and then just out of the blue, of all my kids, the one with the most resentment says, "Hey, man, I'm getting married. Will you be my best man?"
Wow, damn,
So,
dude.
and it's,
That's so sweet.
my
man.
kids are my heroes, But my brother died of overdose, and his was intentional. And that was New Year's Day, 03. Now, between that one and the next one, in my family, I lost, I can name 7 other friends, 2 very close, like brothers, to drugs or alcohol use, or suicide, which was really a combination of both, because it all had to do with that. But then Mom died of overdose, not intentionally, October the 9th, 2011. So then I died from overdose about January 20th, 2022, and I'm still here. Now well, then you didn't die. Yes, I did. And I'm gonna tell you, if your heart stops beating and you're not breathing, you're dead. Only one gets.
I agree.
Only one gets to choose whether or not you come back from that.
You just didn't stay dead.
Exactly. I didn't stay dead.
Yeah.
And if you don't believe that can happen, I got a whole book you should read, the Bible. But on a real note, so out of all those before me that were so important to me, blood or not, that died from overdose and didn't make it back, here I am alive after that, and I finally know why.
Yeah.
Because I for so long I didn't know why. Sitting here tonight, I can honestly say I know exactly why, and honestly, it really has nothing to even do with me, except for the point that I'm the picture on the wall that everybody's looking at and saying, "Oh, okay, yeah, I can totally understand that painting." I'm just the furniture, man.
Right.
You know, you're just getting yourself out of me. That's it.
Yeah. It's unfortunate that someone like you has to go through to that depth to really get that
Yeah.
awareness. We talked about psychedelics earlier. That's one of the things that psychedelics people will do. Psychedelics is it confronts their own
To
mortality.
find that,
right?
yeah.
You kind of because they're and once you get that and you're still alive, it can not always, but it can give you a different perspective on what living actually is. Right? Yeah. But it's unfortunate that you had to go through that to get that perspective.
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate that anybody would have to have that for a reason, or you know what I'm saying. Like you're saying, it's unfortunate that that had to happen, that the circumstances had to get that dire. But you know something, I don't think for a second it's unfortunate that it was me. And that's with even losing mom, even losing and the whole brother thing is another completely different story, because for many years before he killed himself, I wanted to murder him. I had that murderous heart, and that's because of I won't get heavily into it, but it's because of abuse.
Yeah.
Not just your brother beats you up. No, no. But we won't get into that. It's unfortunate for anybody to lose their mom or their brother or their best friend or their other best friend. It's unfortunate for anybody to go to prison for a crime that they didn't even commit. What about all the
I
ones that I
committed all
didn't
mine.
commit, or that I did commit that I didn't get caught for? Right.
Yeah.
But what it really boils down to is, God. Well, when in Rome, do what Romans do, right? We'll call him God. He don't make no mistakes, man. And he chooses us for a reason. He chooses you to run this show because you're the one he intended to run this show, because you're the best man for the job. Same with you. He chooses you for Hobling and for RSAT because nobody else could do it like David. Well, lo and behold, imposter syndrome's gone till tomorrow morning when I wake up, because I know exactly why I'm here, and there is nothing in this world better, nothing more satisfying, not a T-bone steak with extra fat, nothing more satisfying than knowing your purpose, man.
Yeah.
That is such a statement to make. Like, when you think about like losing somebody that you love when it could have been avoided, you know what I mean? And or for whatever reason, dealing with loss and that grief and that separation. My sister died of a fentanyl overdose, man, before it was even really a thing, but I think about like, how did this affect me? You know what I mean? And I went a full circle with this whole situation because, I mean, I don't know if you call it accountability or what you call it, but I knew I was the primary influence in her life that put her in that position. You see what I'm saying? So that's something I got to deal with, and like some days it's unbelievably hard to deal with, But when I think about that time, because I was her big brother, you know what I mean? She just wanted to be around me. I was just doing these things, and she was like, a little tag along. I was like, go here, go over here, the whole time. And then, as time goes by, it starts, you start doing it together and stuff like that. You know what I mean? It's, and I'm all jacked up, just thinking about myself, selfish, not really caring about my own sister during that time, like her welfare. You know what I mean? It's crazy. But when I think about her loss and like, how it affected my family, because that kind of stuff changes you, bro. There's no end to that. That's a change that's like imprinted, and it's not even about getting over it, or anything like that. It's just, that's it. But when I think about where I was, what position I was when that actually happened, it was like so beautiful for me personally just to be there at that time. You see what I'm saying? I was like helpful to the ones I loved the most. You know what I mean? Like I was actually helpful. I remember funerals happening, bro, and I was the biggest problem in the funeral. And I made it, my addiction made it about me.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Like, isn't that crazy? So, like, on top of my mom or my family members grieving, I'm a problem that makes it worse. So, you know, with the loss that I've acquired over maybe the last, I guess, about 8 years, which were really serious, you know what I'm saying? I was there to like love my mom, love my brother, love my dad, and then I could receive it too. Like I was in position for my mom to love me, for people to like, I could had shoulders to lean on. My children were there for me during that, and I was there for them. So there's a piece of that whole process, as unfortunate as it is, it's like the most beautiful thing I've ever been a part of. It's really weird to say. You know what I'm saying? Really weird to say, but it was just like the most loving thing. I don't know. It's weird to try to explain.
I mean, I think it makes sense. I think it's, you know, it's kind of 2.0 a little bit, but it's kind of understanding that. I mean, it's like everything belongs, right? Like there's a reason. If it exists, then there's a reason why it exists.
Yeah.
You know?
Facts.
And whenever I say that, you know, somebody always thinks, well, what about the most extreme, horrible thing going on the planet today, right? And the fact that, you know, things have to die for things to be reborn. I mean, it's in nature. It's right.
Yeah, I don't like the argument, like especially when it comes to like the significance of a loving God. And somebody says, "Well, why do the people have like, you know, bugs on their eyes and they're starving?" It's like, bro, because maybe, you know, we're supposed to be because we're
pretty
over here.
shitty at being humans.
Yeah, because human beings kind of suck in that way. People starve and we watch it on TV and we like, you know, put the tissue up to our eyes and then we go off to McDonald's and grab a double pounder. You know what I'm
Thought about
saying?
the fact that you might be a bug on God's eye.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I do
don't
think
like that
that's
argument.
it's you know it's hard to talk about things like that in this context because you know when somebody is in the middle of suffering, it's hard for them to understand. You know, like everything belongs.
Right. Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there is kind of that deeper truth that you can get to as you continue on. Also, to the point, like what you were sharing, it's like how much of our life in addiction or whatever are we just looking for every excuse
Oh man.
to be the victim?
Yeah.
Using it as a justification for us to do what we really wanted to do in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's a mind.
And
game.
how many people are living in that cycle of just kind of responding to it selfishly and then scapegoating it as the cause of why they're doing what they're doing. And to have people to go, look, all this jacked up shit happened, but I'm making a choice. You know, like I can remember distinctively sitting in a meeting years ago, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, and a guy sat there and shared about how his son got murdered. And he was sober. And he wasn't thinking about getting drunk or high or whatever. And he was in a meeting. And the homies that were sitting next to him just put their hand on his shoulder, you know?
Yeah.
And just seeing that and going down, dude. Because that's a good excuse right there.
Well, that's
Right?
what I'm saying. Like
You know what I mean? But
yeah.
here he is sitting there going, but I'm not going to play this victim role. I'm not going to, this isn't happening to me.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's happened and it's horrible and it's tragic.
And I experienced it, but it's not happening to me.
Yeah.
Yes,
I have to go through this. I have to face it. And he didn't have to go back to old patterns and use it as a justification to be a selfish person. That's powerful. And
It's huge. It's like, I mean, that's courage, bravery, honor, all
It's
that.
life.
To like to because the other side of that is the ultimate card.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, I mean, you know, like, and I'm not taking away from the suffering of somebody, like the trauma that comes behind the loss. I mean, that's legit, right? And I can see a relapse. You know, I can see this, but in that equation, right, of these horrific, tragic events, there still is a choice in there. You know, do you want to sink? You know what I mean? When you're saying, then you know, my brother committed suicide, or my best friend, I watched my best friend die, and it's like, you know, it's the ultimate card to keep doing that thing.
Well, you write that narrative in your
Yeah.
mind, and then the thought of that plays this tape and that story, and then you start existing in the framework of that story. And I'm like, surprise! The alcoholic drank. Like you
Yeah.
did it. Okay, keep it in the road. Move on. Like, it's not like, don't use that as another start the story on how you're a piece of shit and how you don't deserve
Never
it. and
gonna
might
get
as well
right.
Go back to the bottle again,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And that's the addiction, the nefarious, cunning, baffling manner of addiction, right? It like mind jacks us into submission because we just keep believing the hype all the time, and then we just stay stuck. And it's almost like when you can interrupt someone in their storyline, you know, oh yeah, yeah, you're trying not to drink. It's really sad that you drank, but it's also surprise, like not that surprising.
Well, now we're back on the language thing because one of the things that we just learned, through this peer support thing, even the language we use in the rooms can be somewhat of a stigma to people. If you go back and use again, you just relapsed, or went out to do more research. Now in peer support, it's called a hiccup.
Yeah.
I like that a lot better. Slip
yeah.
up. Hiccup,
Because
slip
a
up.
lapse is
What do they
so,
call
or
it,
relapse is so negative. Now, in clinician terms, you do it once, it's a lapse. Then it's not a relapse until you continue to do it or whatnot. But still, it's like a browbeating thing,
Yeah.
I don't know though. I'm kind of 12-step to death.
Did I trigger you when I said alcoholic?
Not at all. Alcohol was just my cushion.
But I'll tell you. So we're eventually gonna have
A language
Jeff
thing?
Breedlove.
Oh yes, that's right. That's right.
That's a rock star.
Yeah, but I will say, like, and this is just the way I am. I see the good and the bad in all of it, right? The negative. I've witnessed this with several people who are all, kind of all pathways, setbacks. Not is it. The inverse of it, right? The positive of it is, yes, it's just like I told the homie yesterday. You drank. Okay, so what? You're not, doesn't mean anything.
Right.
Just means you drank. So now let's make a decision to maybe not drink more, or maybe don't get in the car and drive now. Like, keep it in the road now. You drank. Let's move forward. Right? That's person-centered. I'm not focusing on the behavior, focusing on the person.
Yeah.
But the inverse of that is, well, it's just a setback. It's not a big deal, right? And we know people who, it's like, okay, like, when is it no longer just a setback? Like, how much crack do you have to consume to where we kind of go, okay, this is no longer like a setback. This is you're in a serious zone here.
Yeah.
And so, like, I think of the inverse of both of those, right? Like, I totally understand the value of calling myself an alcoholic or an addict, but I also see the harm of that.
Yeah.
And how like when I call myself that, how I do kind of like, I crunch myself down a little bit, right? So I kind of like see it from both angles for me.
Like, yeah, if if on one hand, if mom takes you to buy crack rock, it's harm reduction. On the other side of it, it's enabling,
Right.
Like language and stuff like that is important. Right?
Very.
It is important.
We are like the wrong people to have this
I know.
conversation.
Facts.
But the thing
Or
is,
I'm the wrong
I think we're
person
the
for
right
sure.
people, man, because you know what I'm saying. We are the people. All right. But I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
All right. But it's the thing, man. It's like we ain't got to take this to the podium. There's a lot of other stuff going on here.
Yeah.
It's like it cannot be a banner-ridden thing. People are freaking dying, bro.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? Let's put that in along with all the other stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. But I feel like these things just get like, I don't know, it's
Blown
like,
out of proportion.
it's like shadow play a little bit. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's like there's sort of a agenda to this, man. Let's pop this in here and make it a thing. Like I'm telling you, man. Like I see these things coming.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So now this whole 2024, we're gonna learn to talk
Yeah.
because stigma is important, which it is, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like there's words now that I did okay with these words. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I use very slanderous words, just saying hi to my friends. You know what I mean?
What's
you know
up,
what I'm saying?
motherfucker?
Right.
But it's like now, come on, man. You know, let's put that in with all the other stuff. Like your identity, okay. What is it? You're this, that, and them. Okay, cool. Let's put that in with all this other stuff. This is not make this a whole year.
The thing.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be the thing, man.
Yeah. It's
Only a thing when you make it a thing. It wasn't a thing until it was a thing, you know?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And you made it a thing.
Yeah, where's my thing?
Right. Where's
I
my
lost
thing?
my
We're
thing.
making it a thing right now.
Right now.
Yeah. But I think that the heart of it is lifting the person up, you know, and understanding that you're dealing with a person who's just gone through some things, you know, and it's hard for me to reflect that to somebody else until I've learned to reflect that to myself. But I'm pretty devious, so I can talk myself out of accountability to myself very easily by going, "Oh, well, you're just a guy trying really hard, and you deserve
Just a
this."
hiccup.
Or it's like, so. But there's also so where's that line of like, yeah, you're just a guy who's trying, and you're not going to get it right, you know, all the time, and just because you don't get it right all the time doesn't mean that you're not like a good person or you don't have worth and value. And when I can learn to acknowledge my own worth and value in the midst of all these imperfections, then it becomes very easy when somebody else comes to me in those situations to go, oh, yeah, okay. It doesn't change how I'm seeing you or how I want to serve you, right? Like,
We're back to the purpose again. What's the purpose of a hiccup or a relapse or whatever you want to call it? What do you do next?
that's it.
That's what's important.
Yeah.
That's what it's all about. The whole thing, it was designed, I believe personally, the whole thing was designed to put you into a place where you weren't, that you needed to be, to see a perspective that you weren't seeing, that you needed to see. And what do you do next with it?
That's it.
What do you do with that? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a predestination type of guy.
Yeah. It's not the things that happen. It's how we learn to respond
Yeah.
instead of consistently just reacting.
Facts.
Yeah, man, and you know, like, what's wrong with? Okay, try harder this time.
Yeah. Maybe try a little harder.
Try a little harder, man.
Yeah.
And there's
Right.
the important language right there. It's not all about calling the same thing 100 different things. You know, it's about calling things what they really are. So respond or react. That ain't the same as saying enable or harm reduction or relapse or hiccup,
Right.
because those are two different things. Respond and react.
Yeah.
And once you know the difference,
Yeah.
now you're in the spot.
Wow,
What
that's
do
cool.
you do next?
That's good. Yeah, that's real.
You know, support or diagnose.
Right.
You know, two different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not taking away. Now look, here's my thing. You know, my favorite pizza in the world is the Domino's thin crust, and they got that oregano shake that they only put on the thin crust. They don't put it on the pan or the hand tossed. And you know, it's got to be thin because I don't like all that extra bread. But you take that oregano shake off when they miss it, when they forget to put it on my pizza. That's not the same pie, bro. You know, so you got to have all the ingredients to make it work. You need the clinician, you need the peer support agent.
I agree.
You know, you need the receptionist,
Yeah.
the person that's scheduling your appointment.
Yeah.
At the end, you know,
Yeah. And you
even
need the
to
guy cussing with you on the street corner,
You
trying
need all
to
that.
help you along.
Yes.
We need the whole
You
whole
need
thing.
everything.
You need the guy out front trying to bum a cigarette on your way in the door and on your way out the door.
I told you before, I
You need
don't
some.
smoke.
You need somebody to tell you,
Well,
well,
can I
what
hit
would
you back?
Jesus do?
You need the cop that arrested you. You know,
Right.
You
Yeah,
need
you do.
the judge that sentenced you
Wow.
to that behavioral health assessment. You know,
Yeah.
or the PO that instead of terminating your probation, said, okay, let's go take a look at these sessions.
Yeah. There's a verse that all things work for the good of those who are in Christ Jesus, who live and walk according to his spirit. And that last little part is kind of the caveat, right? And the way I would explain that is like when you have this godly perspective on it, right? When you're participating in the kingdom, right? Whatever this thing is that we're all in, whatever you call it, right? Everything works for your good. All things work for the good because there's redemption in it, right? Like I know that about whatever God is. I know God does not waste suffering and redeems us in our suffering and through our suffering. And that's the difference is do we suffer and kind of lament and stay stuck in the suffering, or do we suffer and allow the natural heavenly order of things here on earth to redeem that suffering?
Amen.
Right? And we get to you get to choose what do you want to do. Ultimately, like, you know, it's like I can't I was telling a friend that, you know, I'll do it. Like, we'll hold down all this. What about this? What about that? What about this? You don't got to worry about that. You got to do the thing we can't do. We can't walk in that room, in that treatment center for you.
For sure.
We can't get on the plane for you.
Yeah.
You just do the thing only you can do, and we'll do all the rest. That's no problem for us. It's easy. And it's so hard to see because you get kind of tricked to that whole system, and so you don't realize that this is the thing working for you and making life, giving you the opportunity to really live. And, you know, I think I spent all week this week kind of in that, you know, and I woke up this morning and was kind of like, that's done. I got to move forward.
On with the show.
On with the show.
On with the show,
Opportunity
baby.
to live. And where does our success lie? In the granting of the opportunities.
That you know what? That is so crazy.
I've
When
adopted
he was
that so
talking and you were saying that's what, you know, like at one of the places that I work at, they're always trying to gauge success
Oh my God.
on people's lives. What's going on with this person? How are the 450 people that you've helped?
Mm-hmm.
How do we measure the success? So, we was in the position to take them to the next step. Ultimately, we can't be them.
Yeah.
Ultimately, they got to make the next move, and we can't control that, man.
I can't work your recovery harder than you, or it's not your recovery.
But you cannot get that message across because they want to look at it like numbers or something. I don't know, man. They want to measure it.
Keep biting.
It's like,
that
bro, we've been able to help people. We're successful.
Yeah, but have you been able to empower and encourage them to help themselves?
Woo.
Well, and that's like if you look at most of the healings Jesus does, I think it's all, if not most of them, it's all. Now you go and wash yourself in the Jordan.
Facts.
The most
Now you
spiritual
go
thing you just
coin.
said.
Now
Right
you go
there,
put
bro.
this on your eyes.
Yeah.
Go get the coin
and
out of the
then we-
fish's mouth. Go fill the baskets.
Yeah.
It's-
Now pick up your mat and walk.
Yeah.
And she says it a lot. Your faith has made you well. It's like, I didn't do it. Your faith has made you well.
Thank you.
What
Like,
he
never
said.
have I seen before a faith like this when the centurion goes, you don't even got to go. You just say and it'll happen. And he's like, it's his faith that makes it. And so,
Well, what did he say? He said, you believe because of all the things you've seen me do. I'm telling you that you will do even greater things. You know?
right.
Man.
Come on.
Come on.
Yeah.
See, now this is some like God talk we're talking right now, right?
Yeah.
And like, it's making me feel better because I get so mad when I'm confronted in that type of way. But I just got to understand, man. You know, it's just like some people, you know, don't see it that way.
Yeah.
But I like being with brothers that can dig into the book,
Yeah.
okay, and like
But them
give
folks that
meaning
don't
to
see
my
it like-
thought process. You
Them
know,
folks that don't see it like that, I know some peers that might be able to sit with them and support them through that.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think like it's taken me a long time to get to that place, you know, to be able, you know, Ram Dass says that you have a moral obligation to not get in the way of someone else's suffering,
Whoa.
which sounds jacked up. But he's saying that the suffering, that's the mechanism. What the obligation we have is to be there when they're ready, right? And that's hard. It's hard to watch people you love, you care about. And we love and care about people we don't know because we see them and we go, dude, that's me. You're me, right? And to see them kind of banging their head against the wall, it's really hard. It's hard to see that and watch that.
It is.
Yeah.
You know, when you think there's something you can do, like, or you stop it, or you know, that's a really great area too, because you know, I think of moms, you know, and parents really trying to help their kid, or thinking, you know, they just got to do this or don't do that, or like trying to really navigate, you know, keep the bumpers up for their kids' life because they want them to be safe and they want them to be okay, you know. But you know, even as a clinician, I gotta say, you guys gotta step back. But it's easier said than done. You know, I can observe that and say, whoa, hey, if you guys step back and let them have their journey, they're gonna start realizing what is actually going on. If you keep freaking placating this craziness, it's gonna keep happening. But again, though,
Put
it's
it in
hard.
perspective, okay? So you got this returning citizen, and he's got to do his last 6 months, right? And so what's he gonna need when he gets out? He's gonna need a place to stay. So okay, cool. You got a sober living for him, and that takes care of a couple of the other things that need to be knocked out too, because he's gonna get meetings in. He can take that not only to the sober living but to the PO. Prove that he's been doing the meetings, and all right. So we've got him an appointment for a week after he gets out to go get a behavioral health assessment, and he gets that taken care of too. And oh yeah, we know we got this lined up for him to go to the DDS and get at least a state ID so that we can get the other documents needed, and they can get a job and may even have a job lined up for him. Now we've got everything in place. All the pieces are in place. Homeboy can't do any of it till he gets out. 6 months he's still got left to do. So you take it to the judge. Hey, Your Honor, I've got everything in place. He's done all this time. If you're ready to let him out, we've got everything in place, and I know he'll succeed. And the judge says, nope, he's going to do every day of this last 6 months. Then he can go do all that. So what are you going to do? He's not going to beat his head against the wall. He knows he's got to do that 6 months, and he's happy that he's got things in place. But we can't rush the fact. The judge said he's not getting out. So let's keep it all in place, and we just have to wait. Well, that's what it's like for the rest of it. You know, whether it's addiction, mental health, until they're ready to get the help that they need and ready to take certain steps, you know, all we're doing is waiting for them to get out of jail.
Yeah, and you know that sometimes just like and it's good that we have everything in place.
Yeah,
we got the help we got some bases covered for you. You know, just get on out here and try it out.
yeah. And you also never know, too, right? I mean, sometimes you gotta love people back to life. Sometimes you gotta pick up the slack, carry what they can't carry, right? Help them to carry their load, and it is hard to know where that at. Where's that at?
Yeah, you know, it's just like if I help put somebody in a sober living today, right? And he said, man, Dave, thank you so much, man. You know, yada yada yada. I said, yeah, man, we ministry helped you out. You know, we got you in there, and then, you know, I never had somebody like, you know, just really just give that kind of love. You know what I mean? And he goes into the sober living, man. He goes to like 3 groups. He said, here's a couple people share that really impact him. He gets a little bit of knowledge of the process and he goes out and relapses, or slip up, or hiccup, or whatever you call it, right?
Setback.
Went to do more research.
Setback, whatever, right? What he gained in that process to get to that where he's now in active
He
addiction,
wouldn't have gained that if you hadn't put him in the position.
Bro,
Or helped
now
put him in the
that
position.
is really why, right? I mean, you know how important that whole process was for him in active addiction? If he would ever have
rest.
another moment of clarity
Yeah.
to try again, he knows somebody loves him. He knows somebody's caring and supporting him. They don't even freaking know him. You see what I'm saying? He know there's a place where that will give him a bed if he goes through the process, and he knows there's another way and he can do it again.
Yeah, he
That's-
knows for a fact that it now
Bro.
there's no excuse. I know it can be done.
Come on, like if somebody doesn't get that.
Yeah. Well, or like in the last 600 days, they haven't had 5 days in a row not using.
Yeah, like,
Now they have an experience of 5 days in a row not using. It's pretty substantial. You know what I mean? Like,
it's real.
like
That
it's
5
not
days-
nothing to be sneezed at. Like, dude,
No,
that's a pretty
they'll never forget.
percentage-wise. That's like 1,000% increase
what I'm saying.
from the years before.
That 30-day chip, or key tag or whatever you pick up, it's the white chip, and you know what? It is the white, and it's the year, and all that 9 months for me. I'm gonna tell you something. That 30-day tag, bro. That was the kicker, because dude, I just went a whole month. Once you do a month, you can do 2.
Yeah.
You do 2, you can do 3.
Yeah.
I can
Mine
get
was
100
90.
white chips.
Mine was 90. I
90
think because
hit
I was
that.
in treatment for the first 60. And,
Yeah.
And I saw someone get a 60, and I thought, 60? 60 days? Like, that's wild. That was, a year is so, like,
Yeah.
you lying.
Yeah,
You know what I
stop
mean?
lying.
But 60, and then when I got that 90, and it was like, oh damn, like this is a big. But you're right, like those early. That's why we give them out every 30 days
Yes,
in the
sir.
beginning. But after a year, you gotta wait another year, or maybe 6 months, if depending on who your group is.
Yeah.
But we ain't doing it every 30 days,
Nah.
okay? We did that in the beginning.
Yeah. You needed that. You needed
needed
that. You needed that pat on the back, and it was real. 30 days is hard. That's hard. That's real. You did it.
Well, now you need to just start watching other people get 30 days, right? Help
Yeah.
some other people
Then
get
somebody
30
says,
days.
"I got 35 years." You're like, "What?
Right.
What you doing? You still coming through? 35 years? Damn.
Fairy
man.
tale.
This has been great, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
this
This
has been
has been so
good,
good.
and I feel like we got to land it. We didn't break out the guitar,
That's okay.
but I think we'll do it
Oh.
next time.
Yeah.
But
How long we been on?
I don't know, but I feel like we should probably. But this is good, man. I appreciate you making the trip out and sharing your process. I think
Thanks
we
for
got-
having me.
Right.
Shit.
we covered a lot of
Right.
things.
It felt like a homecoming, and I get to see a new spot,
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
But I've been meaning to get with you guys for a minute.
Yeah. So much
You
thanks
you come
to.
on Sunday?
I'm gonna try. No promises.
All right.
We're gonna talk afterwards. I gotta talk to you about something. Thank you to Zach for running the 1s and 2s.
Yeah,
Thanks,
Zach,
Zach.
you are the
Thankful
man,
servant.
homie.
Yes.
And thank you to all the donors and supporters who make this space possible, make this stuff possible. We couldn't do it without you. So if you need help, reach out. You're worthy of it. You're worth it. You're worth the effort you got to put in it, and you're worth the effort that any of us sitting here have to put in it to
right.
help you. So
One quick thing: all the views and perspectives of Mossberg may or may not be the views or perspectives of Advantage Behavioral Health Systems. Quick
Covered.
disclaimer there.
Covered.
yeah, right.
And I love Modern Pathways to Recovery.
Yeah.
Shane, Edmund,
Yeah,
all
love
of those guys,
Athens.
and Mickey, the guy that drove me down here. Those 3 guys in particular, and Mickey just for being there, being my brother.
Shout out.
I would not be Michael Moss I am today without those guys, without Modern Pathways.
All right. Peace.
Deuces. Oh, that was good, right?
That was good.